There was so much debate on when, who, what, where, what coordinators are we going to lose. After the season ended, it was just like, oh man, Ben Johnson's gone, Aaron Glenn's gone. What's that look like? But what happens? The offensive coordinator stays, the defensive coordinator stays. Now we get even more good news, and that is that the Tampa Bay Bucks have hired Liam Cohen to be their offensive coordinator. So what does this have to do with us? Well, it means that two of our assistants aren't going to be taking this job. So Antoine Randall L. And Tanner, who is the passing game coordinator, were in for that, and they're not going to have it. So let's just take a look at this real quick. This is really big. And by the way, let me know your thoughts in the comments on just the Lions and the coaching staff, the offseason. We've looked at mock drafts, but this is huge because we keep our coordinators. And then before we do that, though, we did something the other day, and I don't know if you guys were on for this, so I want to make sure I do it. It was top 10 all-time Detroit Lions players. And tell me if you agree with this list or not. Let's pull it up real quick. Actually, let me just go through this. Okay, so head coach Dan Campbell, duh. Then you look at offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, check. Scotty Montgomery, good. There's Tanner. Hank Fraley staying. Look at that offensive. Everything stays. Antoine Randall L. There he is. Antoine Randall L. is there. So offensively, it all stays intact. Huge. Defensively, we've hired a couple new people, but you got Dre Bly still there. Aaron Glenn, of course, which we have to give Aaron Glenn, we have to give him another year with some better players. I think in some ways they overachieved. They gave up some big games, big plays, big this. That's going to happen in the National Football League. But by and large, with the players that were out there, I mean, these guys played well. I mean, at the end of the year there, that the last 4 games, they're holding opponents to 20 points a game. 20 points a game. Like, what else can you do? So Kelvin Shepard, of course, Dre Thompson is new. So everything is intact, and I love that. So, okay, let's look at it here and let me know your thoughts. Top 10 all-time greatest NFL or Detroit Lions. So you got your honorable mentions. Well, we'll go back to that in just a second. But if you look at it, number 10, and you let me know, Bobby Lane. Now, the unfortunate part, none of us are old enough to know, really. You hear the names, you know it, but it's like Bobby Lane, I don't know. I mean, there's numbers there, but that's tough. Jack Christensen, same thing, 1950 to 58. Heard the name, can't really do it justice. Lem Barney. Okay, now we're getting into something. Let me know your thoughts. Older guys, you got to watch him. Like, let's go. And that was in the 60s. So yeah, 67, 68. So that'd be interesting to know kind of how good he was. Same thing. Didn't really get to see him. Didn't really get to know. Alex Karras. Everybody, I know my dad liked him. Look at this guy. Just that's a Lions uniform right there, if I've ever seen one. Jeez. 1963. Karras and Paul Hornig admitted to betting at NFL games, leading to a 1-year suspension. Even back then, betting. He returned to pro wrestling during then. Also became star of Paper Lion, a celebrated book. Okay. Yep. Lou Kriegmeyer. Geez, this tells you everything you need to know. Where's all the current players? What article is this? Here we go. Kelvin Johnson. Thank you. Number 4 all time. Absolutely. We all saw Kelvin Johnson. Anybody that's a fan now, you're obviously been a fan back when Kelvin was playing. Ridiculous. Just an absolute beast in every way. Was there with some good Lions teams too in that 2011, 12, 13, 14. Gosh, just couldn't put it all together. Joe Schmidt. What? Look at the sidelines. Just people are just hanging. Just like, yeah, I'm just going to go down to the sideline. I'm just going to sit on this, like, this iron pole and hang out. Dutch Clark. What? And then, of course, Barry Sanders. Thank you. Where's like Spielman and just like this article? I go to like a modern day. Let's go back up to the honorable mentions, and that's where they talked about some of the main guys that we would know about. Charlie Sanders, Night Train Lane, and Dominican Sue, Jason Hanson, Stafford. I mean, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but like Stafford's a top 10 Detroit Lion. He's the best quarterback we've ever had, right? Oh my goodness. So that wasn't as cool as I thought it would be. I really pulled up the wrong article. We did it the other day and it was a lot more fun. So let me know. Let me know, older guys and girls, if you saw those players play, what it was like. But the Lions are set up. So here's what it looks like. The offensive staff in check, defensive staff check, GM check, all his people too. We kind of forget about that. I'm sure maybe there's a scout or something we don't know about, but everything's in check. Status quo, continuity, moving forward. Picks, right? There's teams that don't have a first round pick. There's teams that don't have a second round pick. There's teams that only have 4 picks. We've got all our picks. I think we got 2 in the third again, yet again this year. Next year we've got a 4th, extra 4th. The draft's in Detroit. The season ended about as weirdly, oddly as it could have possibly ended, and yet everything's in front of us, and the future's bright, and we're all good. So there's a lot. We could have lost our offensive coordinator, our defensive coordinator. Brad Holmes could have lost his assistant GM. We could have 4 picks. We could be salary cap, where salary cap's healthy. Brad Holmes has just done a heck of a job to keep us flexible, and he's never going to just, I thought, and we'll see this offseason, like if there was ever an offseason to go for it, this would be the one. But I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing to just like, I'm going to overspend and free agency and go for it. I think that's like, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but we looked at the free agent list. They're all older guys that there's no stars. There's names, but they're 29, too much money. So good news for the Lions. They're just in a great spot as they move into this offseason. And then you look at the division, manageable. You know, Jordan Love, is he that good? I don't know. I don't know. Bears, they're figuring it out. Vikings are figuring it out. We've figured it out, and we just gotta get better, see if we can make another run at it. I mean, it's awesome. So the only thing is the schedule. So when you win the division, you play a first place schedule. So we'll play division leaders from the other divisions. We'll play, crossover things. That'll be difficult. But other than that, all good. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next